It's not just about how hard you train in the gym, but how smart you train. And right now, I'm going to share with you a simple but game-changing habit that if you develop, it will really help you level up in boxing. And there's so many studies out there that show significant improvements of the performance metric of those athletes that did this compared to those who didn't use it. This is something that world-class tennis players, footballers, basketballers, and even some boxers are doing. But it's not taught or talked about in boxing. Let me ask you this. At the end of your training session, what do? You should finish off with abs, right? Get strong core every session. But I'm not talking about that. You should finish off with a cool down and stretch as well, right? But I'm not talking about that either. When you finish your session, you should always work on reflection. And I'm not talking about reflection as how you look in the mirror where you're like, oh, look at me, I'm really muscly, I worked really hard today, my reflection is I'm not talking about that kind of reflection, but a certain type of way to reflect on your sessions that will not only help you level up from that one session that you did, even if it was bad, but on your next session as well. And I learned this habit when I trained at East Durham Boxing Academy. They had a coach there who was a former drill sergeant from the army, and he had a sign on the door that what we seen when we left was a game changer. And what it said was, what have you learned today? And I think every boxing gym should have one of these signs on the doors. He explained how to read this in a way you would really benefit from it. Yes, when you step out of the gym, all the hard work is done, but you can get extra gains by doing this simple thing, thinking about what you've just done in the gym. And it's not just about thinking,
oh, well, in that session, I did 3 rounds of shadow boxing, I did hit the heavy back, I did some sparring, I did some ab work and a stretch. Read the sign on the door, and I went.
No, that's not how you read this. You need to really think about the session in a way where it sticks into your brain and turns your gym experience into knowledge. Thinking about what did you do well? What did you not do well? Why did it work? Why didn't it work? And how did it make you feel when you did this? And this kind of reflection can make the big difference between staying on your current level and really leveling up. And when I looked into this even more, I seen lots of studies about this. There was a study in 2018 by the Psychology of Sport and Exercise that showed reflection was a key component in the mental skills of a training program, leading to enhanced self-regulation and performance of those athletes that did it. And those who practiced reflecting regularly after the session had way more chance of reaching their performance goals. So, when you asked yourself at the end of the session, what went well today? Maybe it was your jab was working really well, or maybe your jab wasn't working so well. Why was it not working so well? Maybe your footwork felt really smooth and you were just moving really light on your feet and your legs felt good and strong. Maybe you were out of breath and you didn't know why you were exhausted. So when you reflect on this, you can really think about the why you felt the way you did feel. If you were exhausted, maybe your nutrition wasn't right before the session. Maybe you didn't sleep great the night before. Once you reflect on these things at the end of the session and you know this and get it in your brain, it's going to really help you with your next session. And there's 2 more things that you can do that will really help these things stick into your brain. Before I tell you about them, I want to tell you about how this method's helping me, because now I'm training Jiu Jutsu and I do this all the time, but not just straight after the session. I do it on a night when I'm lying in bed in the evening. I'm thinking about the moves. Why did I get choked? Why did I get this armbar? How did this work? What went right? What didn't go right? And the big one is, what am I going to try next time? That's the really big one. And you can do this with your boxing training too. You will be really shocked with the results of this, because you're wiring these thoughts, these techniques into your brain. And because you're doing this at the end of a session when it's still fresh in your memory, this is going to really help it stick there for when you come into your next training session. Now, one thing you can do to help this stick in even more is a journal. You can write down some notes at the end of each session. I used to train with a guy called David Dolan, who was 3 times ABA champion and Commonwealth Games gold medalist. He used to write down what he did in each session, what went right, what didn't go right. And this really helped retain that information into his head. When you are writing down what you've learned in the session and things that you worked on and how it made you feel and what you need to do to improve, this is going to really help you get better, but it's also going to keep you focused on reaching your goals and keeping you focused on finding out what's working and what's not working. Now, the next thing that you can do, which takes more time, but it's even more beneficial, is video yourself when you're training, making sure that you're not developing bad habits, and then watch these videos back, then write the stuff down in the journal, identifying your mistakes. And I've created a free video package talking all about this, showing you exactly how to do it. You can scan here with your phone, or the link is below, to get this free video package where I show you exactly how to film yourself correctly, identify your mistakes, and drill out any bad habits in your next session. This is also a great way of doing this. But right now, let's get back to the reflection at the end of your training session. Just take a few minutes to really think about it. This could be while you're cooling down, even on the drive home. And then also, like I mentioned, do it on a nighttime when you're falling asleep in bed. Making mental notes of everything can really change the game for you in your boxing. And if you have a coach, you can share your reflections with them. Get their point of view on things. If you've got sparring partners, also talk to them about this. When I used to spar with David Dolan, the Commonwealth Games gold medalist, we used to talk about our sparring after. We used to actually sit down and watch our videos of our sparring together. We used to talk about what went right for him, what went wrong for me, and vice versa. And I'm going to give you 2 amazing things that you can do to help you develop these good habits. But first, I just want to ask you, do you enjoy all of the videos that I put on here for free to try and help you get better at boxing? If you do, the reason why I can afford to do this is by having sponsors on the channel. And before I get into the other great benefits of this, I need to quickly tell you about today's sponsor, which is Renew by Science. And this is a supplement company and a supplement that I take daily. The one I take is called NMN. I put a scoop of this under my tongue every day, and this helps improve my NAD levels, which helps me with more energy, keeps me mentally sharp when I need to be when I'm doing all these videos and creating content. There's also studies out there that says NMN and NAD can help the reverse of aging of the cells. Now, I've been punched in the face thousands of times. I want my cells to be sharp, my brain to be sharp. That's why I'm taking this. And I recommend you do your own research on NMN. And once you do and you think it's great, you can scan here or go to Renew by Science and use code BOXING. You will save 10% off and you can see the benefits for yourself. So how can you get into these great habits of being able to reflect on each session? Well, this is similar to getting in good habits of boxing. You need to think about it, do it, keep doing that until you get to the point of being able to do reflection without having to think about it. But remembering to think about it at the end of a session when you're tired is the hard part, because often after sessions, we are talking, having a laugh with our gym buddies as we're on our way out to the car, then we get in the car, we look at our phones, and then we're on the way home, then we're on to our next part of our life. So the first thing that you can do is have your coach put the sign on the door about what have you learned today. Send your coach this video. And if you have a good coach and he sees this video, he'll be like, yeah, that's a great idea. I'll 100% do that, because he will be on the same page as me. If you have a coach that's got an ego, he will probably think,
That's stupid. Why the hell do I need to do this? You should be thinking about this anyway. Now, Tony Jeffries is interfering on my boxes. I wish he would stop. He's an absolute arsehole. This is my job.
Anyway, you'll learn about your coach or not after he sees this video. Now, the second thing that you can do, I already mentioned, what do we do at the end of a session? We normally pick up our phones. This is not a phone, but you know what I'm saying. We pick up our phones and we check social media notifications, messages of our girlfriends or whatever, and then we're gone, right? So if you're picking your phone up, at the end of each session, this is not going to help you reflect on your session. In fact, it's going to do the complete opposite. It's going to take everything that you've done out of your brain and make you think about these notifications and these social media posts that's on here. So what you should do, have on your screensaver of your phone, what have I learned today? If you've got that on your phone, then when you pick that phone up, it's still not a phone, you'll be able to read this on there and you'll be like, oh, I remember what Tony said about this. Yeah, what have I learned today? And then start reflecting on your session. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is so powerful. There's studies out there about this sort of learning, but no one teaches this. And there's other secrets that world-class fighters and athletes do that no one talks about. And I created a video giving you a couple of them. If you click here and watch this video next, you'll learn more secrets about boxing training. So click here and watch this next.